My name is James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Epic number 2. Okay, so this is like my third attempt at making this video, so hopefully I won't have to stop. This video was the most important video that I'm probably going to make that does not involve Kung Fu because it's a personal video that involves me and my family and our family ethnic history. Alright, so as I was saying, because my mom called so I had to stop the video. This thing doesn't have a pause. Alright, so one, from what we've been told, my mom's dad, her grandfather was a white man from Nelson County. Alright? The Winjana side is where he lived. I don't know if he was from the Winjana side, but there you go. Not the Levinson side, but the Winjana side. His last name was Rose. R-O-S-E. Now, my grandfather, his mother was black, which would be my mother's grandmother. Alright? Now, that's what we got. I have not done an ancestry check, but that's what we got. My mother's mother is either Native American and black or all Native American because according to my mom, her grandmother tried to kill my mom's mom plus her other children. So they wound up with my grandmother Sarah, who is black but not biologically connected to my grandmother. Again, I have not fact-checked that, but that's what we got. Alright? So it explains why my mom looks white. My mom looks white because the white genes, for whatever working that my grandparents were doing when they were making her, the white genes was just real powerful. Now, let's go to my father's side. And then I'll break into why I'm making the video. So my father's side, my father's father is black. Straight up and down, he's black. That's my father, and all of his siblings have mostly black traits. Alright? My father's mother is Native American. Her mother before her is Native American. Alright? To be specific, both of my grandparents on both sides are of Cherokee descent. Alright? So why am I making this video? I'm making this video because both sides of my family have rejected their Native American heritage. I, on the other hand, have embraced it, and I seem to be the only one on both sides of my family that actually embraced the shit because apparently my great-grandmother Ada on my father's side took more special interest in me, and I remember the story she told me about her and her brother John and not being classified as blacks or whites. And then when I did do an ancestry search on her, they lauded her as mulatto, so they took away her Cherokee heritage and noted her and the family as mulatto. And their last name was Wallace. Don't ask. Long story. My great-grandmother died between the ages of me being 9 and 12. I'm not really sure because I can't really remember that far back. No one wants to remember deaths. But I know I was old enough that she had lost both of her legs by the time that she had died from gangrene. Alright? But she used to tell me a lot of stories about how it was and how most Native Americans didn't have rights and all kinds of other stuff. And they left reservations to get a better life, found love, started families, that kind of shit. Now, to the guts and grits of this video. So both sides of my family, for some reason or another, we never did Native American shit. We never studied Native American languages. We never took that shit into account. Both sides of my family, my mother's side and my father's side, just acknowledge themselves as black. They don't acknowledge themselves as what we truly are, which is multicultural. Now, most of them on both sides have black features. My mother's side, because we have white features, also is why we have lighter color. However, my great-grandmother Ada on my father's side was just as light as my mom. But she was full-blooded Cherokee. So you see where we're going with that. Native Americans' colors change by location. That's one thing you have to understand about anybody, really. If your location is somewhere where you have either very fair weather or very hot weather, you're probably going to tan up. If you're in a place where you have very seasonal weather, you're going to come in multi-colors as well. And that's why I'm high yellow. My arms are brown because I refuse to wear long sleeve shirts unless it's cold as hell outside. Which is every 7 to 10 years where Virginia has a really cold weather. We don't really have a whole lot of harsh cold weather, but when we get it, we really get it. So, I have never really sat down with my family members and asked them why they don't accept the Native American side. I have pointed it out, and I've had arguments with family members on both sides, and they were like, man, cut that shit. We're just going to be black. We not gonna be Native American. We just gonna be black. Don't even bring Native American shit up. Fuck that shit. But we all love Thanksgiving. However, I used to love Thanksgiving until I found out the real meaning of Thanksgiving was the slaughtering of some of our ancestors. You know, and I was like, I never knew that because in school, that's not what they teach you. In school, when they teach you about Swanto, they do mention the slavery stuff, and how he went to England and all the other crap, but they don't teach you about how the Native Americans were slaughtered during the Thanksgiving stuff and other things. They just leave all that crap out. So congratulations, I just taught you something. And I learned it the hard way about 4 years ago. I was watching this Thanksgiving commercial, and these beautiful Native American girls were sitting at the table. And I'm looking at all this gorgeous food on this mahogany-ass table, and it was nice. And it wasn't. Because those girls, they were saying all the things to be thankful for first, so it leads you in, and you're like, oh wow, this is awesome. And they're all in Native American regalia, swans, dresses, things, and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here, and I'm looking at the little frillies on the girls, and they're all young girls. They're anywhere between 16 to 14, going down the table. So it's like, I think the oldest girl was maybe 17, and there was like a 15 or 16-year-old, and on until you get to the younger girl who's like maybe 13. So between 16 and 14 or 13. Now by the time where they're about to start maturing and becoming women. And this table's full of the most beautiful food I've ever seen in my life. And when they flipped that damn table and started talking about Native Americans being killed and tortured and all this stuff during Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving stopped being my favorite holiday. Because I'm partially Native American. And that was the one thing in my heritage I never knew, that they went through so much shit during Thanksgiving, and that shit with the pilgrims and stuff was not 100% accurate. So, you know, I've had discussions with my aunt. My Aunt Ruth is the only real person in my family that will literally tell me what I need to hear. Not what I want to hear, what I need to hear. And she will shred no papers about it. She will tell you how it is, like it or not, and you're going to accept it because she's not going to back down. She's going to tell you the goddamn truth. So, I used to be with my grandma Ada, and all the stories that my Aunt Ruth and my Uncle Bruce and them used to talk about when they were living in Smithfield and Isles of Wight or whatever. And shout out to both towns. So, I would ask Ruth, I was like, so, why does Grandma and y'all not really get along? He's like, well, Grandma Ada, or as black people call her, Mama Ada just didn't like us because we was dark. So I guess Mama Ada had a little bit of prejudice in her because Grandma Bay fell in love with a black man and had black children. Now, the children of these black children, like myself and choice others, have more Native American features than our parents did. Now, my Uncle Bruce, God rest his soul, and my father, God rest his soul, would often say whenever they got in trouble, if Mama Ada seen it, they used to call her the old Indian lady. They're like, the old Indian lady, she's going to get us in trouble. She's going to beat their ass. And in some cases, they probably did something and they deserved it. But that wasn't the Ada that I knew. That was the Ada that they knew when she was younger and able to catch them and beat their ass. The Ada I knew from a baby to like 12, you know, she wasn't doing too much mobility. She could talk and she would walk and she would tell me stories about our Cherokee heritage, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, as a child, I was mesmerized by it because I didn't have any friends, and I only got to visit her 3 months out of the year, which was the summertime. So that was that. But when you talk to, like, my Aunt Ruth and them, they'd be like, yeah, your Grandma Ada was a little bit racist, a little bit prejudiced. She really didn't like black people, which is why she really didn't like dealing with us unless she was handing us an ass whooping. And that was cool, you know. But now we flipped the script onto my mother's side, and everybody there was like, you know what? We got Native American in us, but fuck it. We just gonna be black. So why am I bringing this up? Alright. So since both sides of my family deny their Native American heritage, and I'm the only person in my family on both sides that accept my Native American heritage, and I honestly, truly to God, feel more Native American than I do black. I don't ever really feel white. That's not a bad thing, it's just the way it is. I've always felt more Native American than black, and it's probably because of the influence that my great-grandmother Ada had on me that I always felt more Native American than black. However, it was in Charlottesville when I discovered that I was part Native American, because when I looked at my grandmother Ada, I seen my grandmother Ada. I didn't see her as a person running around with a tomahawk and feathers. You know, I didn't see that. I just seen my grandmother Ada, which is how all kids view their parents, their aunts, and their uncles. They see them as who they are, not classified by their fucking ethnicity. Because all of my uncles on my mom's side are light or as brown as my arm. Some are as light as here, some of them as dark as here. But just like me, it's because they won't wear fucking long sleeve shirts. But you know, the only time they bring up their heritage is if someone points it out. They just decided a long time ago they were just going to be black. Where I, on the other hand, have flipped the script and decided I'm going to be all three. Even if it kills me, I'm going to be all three. However, I will say honestly, that has been a double-edged sword. In fact, you can call it a triple-edged sword. Because I've had some identity crises when it came to my heritage a few times. One of the identity crises I had was going to apply for jobs. After high school, applying for jobs became a little bit more racist. Alright? I'll explain. It's not the jobs that were racist. It was the fact that people did not know what the fuck my race is. Alright. So my hair is naturally curly. I got enough blue magic in that shit that we can make an oil slick. So whenever I had gone to apply for jobs, no, I showered up. I don't go there looking like this. Just taking my hair down so you can understand where I'm coming from. And I go in to apply for jobs. And we get to that part that says ethnic background or ethnic heritage or race. The applications have changed in the last few years, but they pretty much say, what is your ethnic background or what is your race? And so in some cases, you know, when I put black, I got strange looks. And I got the intimate question of, are you sure? And I said, well, I don't want to be fired because Virginia is a right-to-work state, and you can be fired for lying on your application on any lie. So, if there was a vet, I have to put vet on my application or they can get me for fraud. So I don't have to worry about stolen valor and I can get arrested for not telling the people that I'm working for that I'm a veteran of the United States Army National Guard. You see the double-edged sword coming in, stabbing me right in the chest. So, my hair is naturally curly. As you can tell with the combing, it's still curled out. And if I don't grease my hair but wash it, it'll be curly as hell. It'll look like a hellacious afro type thing, and I like it better this way. So, one job specifically, for Tuesday mornings, I think I was like 21, 23, somewhere in my 20s. And I applied for this job to be a stock. And this lady who was black, who had like a British accent, I went to go to the part where it says race, and I put black. And she looked at me and she says, honey, are you sure? And I said, ma'am, I know what color I am. You're black. You don't look black to me. I said, well, that's because technically I'm mixed, but my birth certificate says black. So I put black on everything that I fill out. I was like, but if you're mixed, why don't you put other? I said, because my birth certificate says black. It's like, well, I can look at you and tell that you're not black. I said, no, I'm not all the way black, but I am black. And she's like, sure, you're just black. I said, no, I'm not just black. I'm also Native American. I'm also white. And we had this discussion, this transfer, for 3 to 5 minutes. I told the story before on a video. And I left out great detail, but we did have this discussion, and I didn't get the damn job. Yeah, that's just the bottom line. I didn't get the job because I guess they didn't want to hire me for stock. They wanted cash register, and I said, I'm not going to do cash register. That's just not an option. I don't want to play with anybody's money. I don't want to give you the opportunity to say that I stole your money, because later in life that would come back to bite me in the ass when I had to do cash register for the movie theater and had to strip down to my drawers because they were looking for $50 that I didn't steal. It was in the other machine, which had broken in the beginning of the damn shift. And then they put me on the other machine, and then we had to go through all the videos, and they said, oh, we're sorry. You didn't steal the money. It's in the other machine. You can put your clothes back on. I got my socks turned inside out. I'm jumping up and down, so if anything, and I got to hold like the base of my pants open so they can see if anything falls out while my wanker's just flipping in the wind. So yeah, you know, I'm never going to work in a cash register ever the hell again. And this isn't the only time things like this has happened. You've probably heard the stories. You've probably seen the datelines. You've probably seen the news where people would call in and pretend to like to be cops and make their cashier strip. They said that she was pocketing money. You know, these things do happen. You know, innocent people do get hemmed up in some shit that just really shouldn't happen to anybody, but it does happen. Like I said, I had to strip down to my boxers, and at the time, I didn't have boxer briefs. I had those bikini drawers, so I had to do this and that, and they got to watch me flop around and shake. I had to pull the cuffs out and do one of these numbers and that. And hell, you know, if I would have known better, I would have just went on and took my goddamn drawers off. Would have been just that damn simple. Because once I joined the Army, we've had to walk around naked in front of a bunch of dudes already. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, a lot of the members in the family, and both sides, just don't want to cop to the Native American heritage. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's something wrong with that. Because when you deny one part of you, you deny all of you. So you shouldn't do that. You know, but my family does that. They deny their Native American heritage. They don't use it. And if I knew now what I would have known back then, what I know now, I could have used this stuff for college. I could have used this stuff for all kinds of things. And I didn't know because I just didn't know. Grandma Ada didn't know. So she can't give you information that she has no knowledge of. You know, and once I found out I was part Native American, I started looking into doing these things. So I'm looking into it now so that if I ever have children, they'll be able to go to college with a little bit more of a cheaper discount, you know, and things like that. And I'm still looking into it. And then I got to find a way to pay for a DNA test and try to apply for the Cherokee Nation and all kinds of other stuff, unless we kind of find out that we're not Cherokee, we're Seminole, or we're whatever other Native American lands that have come through here, because anybody on the East Coast is more than likely from the Manhattan Indians to the Cherokee to the Seminole, you're in there somewhere, because the Creek's in there, and the Creek and Cherokee are brothers. So, that being said, you know, you shouldn't deny your heritage, but my family on both sides, they just want to be black. They don't want to accept and embrace their Native American heritage, where I, on the other hand, have totally accepted and embraced it. And, you know, I'm going to make another video after this just because I need to, but you guys should be sure to check it out. Before I go, being mixed is great until it's not. Because there are situations where being mixed, you know, people will say shit and talk about things, and they'll look at you and they'll be like, okay, maybe this motherfucker doesn't know what we're going on with, and so they're going to keep talking. So I'm going to give you one more story before I go, because this involves my second father. So we went to Disney World once, alright? Went on down to Florida, to Kissimmee, Florida, in Orlando. Kissimmee, excuse me. And we went to a Taste of China. And it was awesome. I got to watch people work tridents and nunchucks, and I wanted to get up there so bad, but you know, you couldn't do that. So they were rehearsing and they were training and we were doing all this, and this white fella came over there to talk to my second surrogate dad, Mr. Shiflett. Thank you, God, for giving me him, because I needed another father when my father couldn't be there, and he was the one that you sent me. And I'm grateful for that. So, getting that out of my system, me and Rick are there, and this other white fella comes along, and he starts talking to us, and we're chilling with the guy at the table. He works there. He works for the Asian people who was running the Taste of China. And Fawn was there. Y'all probably have no idea who she is, but she started off as a very little flexible-ass girl who did twirls and flips off of people. You know, they threw her in the air. She did all kinds of stuff, and she could do the leg split kicks and stuff and hold her leg for like an hour. She was awesome. Anyway, hi, Fawn. Anyway, so I think she was like 6. She's very well in her 20s by now. Hi, Fawn. Anyway, so he's talking. I mean, he's talking his ass off about Chinese people. He's saying bad things. He's saying good things. He is just laying it in thick. And me and Ricker, we're just absorbing it. We're just taking it all in. And all of a sudden, he looks at me and he stops talking. He literally looked at me. He looked over at the Chinese people, looked back at me, looked at the Chinese people, looked at me again, looked at the Chinese people, looked at me one more time and said, "Hey man, are you half Chinese?" And I said, "Dude, I'm half Cherokee Indian. I got nothing to do with China." Now at this time, I did not know that Native Americans were Asian. Alright? I was like so beyond that knowledge. I might have forgotten it. In fact, I will pretty much say I did forget it because my preacher friend, Mr. Kim, we had a bet and I lost. And Native Americans actually are 100% bona fide Asian as they crossed out of Asia into Russia, into America, and established a impressive foothold. And were the first man Americans to ever exist for 20,000 years as the tribes grew. I lost that bet. And now the guy's looking at me. I mean, he done put his foot in his mouth on all the shit that he said about Chinese people. Now, it wasn't offensive. It wasn't really bad shit that he was saying about them. He was just like, these guys work you hard as hell. They're exceptionally disciplined, but because he's Guaylo, he gets like treated roughly by some, and some treat him well, but mostly the men just don't like him because they're intimidated by white power, which is basically what it boiled down to. Now, he wasn't insulting Asians in the least bit from where I stood, but when he looked at them and looked at me and looked at them and looked at me and looked at them, looked at me, and it's like it took him a hot minute to catch on that I was sitting there. And he's like, "Dude, are you with them?" And I was like, "No, dude, I don't work here. I'm just visiting from freaking Virginia." And he thought for sure that I was like half black and half Chinese. And he turned red as this blanket after he did the eye back and forth thing. And then he's like, "Look, I'm really sorry that I've offended." I said, "Hey, look, dude, I'm part Cherokee. Keep talking. I don't give a damn what you say about these people. They haven't done anything to me. After we see the show, I'm going back to Virginia. So I'm not going to tell them a damn thing," but he just knew he had lost his job. He just knew he lost his job. He's like, "That half-breed dude's going to probably go and tell all these Chinese people everything I said, but he's probably going to speak to them in Mandarin." Well, here's a newsflash for you. I don't speak Chinese. Would be great if I did know Chinese. I know a few words, I know a few racial insults, but I'm not going to use them, and I'm not going to speak Chinese. No. So also, while we're on that, while I was attending my first few years at Piedmont, this is how me and Mr. Kim, we met by him thinking that I was part Chinese. That's also how we had that bet. So I'm going to go ahead and give you that story too. In fact, I'll give it to you in the next video.